Great seeing you. I said great seeing you.
Great to be here.
Welcome back.
We're joined now by Kansas head coach Bill Self. Coach, we'll ask for a couple thoughts, and then we'll start taking some questions.
Well, we're obviously thrilled to be here and have a chance to play for a championship. Last night was a great night for us, as it was for Carolina also. But it's time to forget about that and get focused on what's next.
If you have a question for Coach Self, please raise your hand. Let's start all the way up front to the left with Matt.
Matt Tate, Lawrence Journal World. Coach, I wonder what your reaction was to how your guys responded after the victory. Body language, emotions, things like that. I mean, you've talked a lot about coming here to win it.
Well, we were obviously happy. I thought, after you win, body language was fantastic. I don't think we spent a lot of energy in the locker room after the win, though. I think we were thinking at least the best you can next play, and we got right back to the hotel and had dinner around 10:30 or whatever it was, and 10 or 10:30, and went to bed. So we didn't start talking about Carolina till this morning, but I thought they responded just the way you should respond.
Coach, we'll move to the right side on the aisle. Dana.
Dana O'Neill at The Athletic. Bill, you talked about this before, but it's been a while for your program to have won a national championship, and obviously it means a lot to anybody, but specifically for Kansas, for you even, kind of getting back on that horse. What does it mean for you guys?
Yeah, well, it has been. We've had some really terrific seasons and some great teams that came up short, and I do think that when you have as many good teams as we've had, at most places winning one national championship would be quite an accomplishment. I think as many good teams as we've had, one's not enough. And so I don't think that I personally feel pressure that we have to win, but I do know that when you have a chance to coach at a place where you have an opportunity to be in the game most years, you need to take advantage of that more than we have.
Coach, we'll move up front on the right side. Dennis.
Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports. Bill, you've referenced this a bunch of times, but how tough was missing 2020 in that you probably would have been the #1 overall seed, could have gotten here? Everybody missed it, but how tough was that?
Well, I think it was, it was tough for everybody. I mean, that was just a tough year all around for everybody. No matter what you did as a profession, everybody was affected in some way. It was probably maybe our most equipped team to go deep in the tournament, at least going into a tournament. We had the best big man defensive player in the country. We had the best guard defensive player in the country, and we had a second-team All-American on top of that. So that was tough for our guys. But they handled it well, and probably what made it a little tougher was the year before we got knocked out in the second round. The year after we get knocked out in the second round. So getting here, I think, is pretty sweet for us in large part because many guys on this team didn't have a chance to play in it when we had. I don't know if we had a legitimate shot, but it would have taken a pretty good effort to knock us out.
Coach, we're on the right side off the aisle.
Hey, Coach. Mike Toper with Spectrum News 1 in Raleigh. Bobby Pettiford is obviously from our area there. I just wanted to know if you had a chance to talk to him about your opponent for tomorrow and what that might mean to him yet.
Yeah, he told me just a little bit ago, 2 or 3 of the guys played on CP3. I believe Leakey's a couple years older, a few years older, but they came out of the same program, and Bobby is people in Carolina don't know this yet, but he's going to be a terrific player. He just been hurt, and so he hadn't had a chance to play. And's out for the season, but he has told us some, and I know that he's excited about it, even though it's in a limited role.
1 row back, Lane.
Hey there, Coach. Lane Higgins from the Wall Street Journal. And, you didn't necessarily need Remy to go off last night, and that's maybe the beauty of having a player like that on your team, and you sort of mentioned that was a piece that you wanted to add. But I'm curious if you could kind of walk us through how the changing transfer rules and also this extra year of eligibility that COVID gave everyone kind of changed the way that you could go about roster building, given that you're not just looking to high schoolers or, people that are willing to sit out a year.
Well, I think in the power conference programs, I still think you want to build with your high school kids. I think it's real important that you have a good November early signing period and try to attract the best players you can. But what the transfer portal does, it allows you not to take a step back whenever you have unexpected things happen during the season. So, for instance, that happens a lot. Whether it be another guy transfer or whether it be a guy or two declare for the draft and have an unexpected, have a good year that's maybe ahead of what your schedule was for him, those sorts of things. You can't get a freshman in the spring like that because they're already taken. So the transfer portal allows you to fill in the gaps, which allows programs to stay at the level that they're presently operating at, and there won't be as many dips like this because of the portal. And what was your second question?
The extra year of eligibility that COVID gave everyone.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think this year in particular, you have older teams. You have, I don't know that, to me, that the teams were a lot better early in the season, but after everyone got acclimated through the portal and everything, I think there were more solid and good teams late in the season than there was a year prior. And we have a sixth-year senior, a seventh-year senior, and even though it'll never be like that again probably, but having those kids go out in a way that every other class has been able to go out, I think has been great for all of them.
We're going just to the left of center. Barry.
Barry Sperliver from the Washington Post. Bill, you've been at this a while. We know who's retired the last couple of years in Roy and Mike Krzyzewski. I wonder what sort of responsibility or role you see yourself in speaking about the game, about the state of college basketball, because you've been at it along and you're at a very prominent program.
Yeah, well, we've lost some icons due to retirement and that have been the pillars of our profession for a while, and I think that all coaches, my age, I don't think that you're going to see any one person step into a role like Coach K's had or anything like that. But I think collectively, I think we can do a good job of having a voice, and because our game is great, but our game needs changes too, and everything that you work in or whatever you do, it never stays just status quo, and so we need to keep evolving, and I think there's numerous coaches out there, including myself, that need to have a voice and be active and responsible in helping those changes occur.
Coach, we're going to go up front to the right. Zach.
Zach Blair, Lawrence Journal-World. Bill, I know it's a different team, a different scheme, but Brady Manick, you've had some pretty good success against him when he was at Oklahoma. What do you do to stop him? How do you stop him? How have you stopped him in the past? And what makes it different now, this challenge coming in tomorrow night?
Well, I think, Brady's obviously been unbelievable. He and Caleb have been arguably the two best players in the tournament. It's shocking to me, and I just noticed this morning, looking at stats. We've shot 91 threes as a team in the tournament. Manick and Love have shot 90 of them by themselves. It's amazing, and to have a guy 6'10" that has that quick a release, he's playing with freedom. He was a threat always at OU, but Hubert's given him a free mind that he feels like that anytime he's got any separation at all, he needs to let it fly, and that's a compliment to his coach and their staff. but also, he's such a good player, and he's got such a quick release, and it's a high release. And playing him at OU, you had to defend him probably a little bit more on the post, and now obviously with Mondo in the game, he's playing primarily on the perimeter.
Coach, we're going to take 3 questions across the front row here. Let's start in the center.
Gary Bedore, KC Star. Bill, how happy are you for your seniors, and how special a class has that been, maybe compared to some others at Kansas?
Yeah, I'm thrilled for them. And when we recruited the senior class, the headliners were not David McCormack and Ochai Agbaji. They were Devon Dotson and Quentin Grimes. So, and we coached Quentin for 1 year and transferred to Houston, and we coached Dot for 2. So, yeah, I'm extremely happy for those guys and what they've given us. And they've been great ambassadors and role models for our school and our community. And they both, put in the time to give us a chance to be here. So I'm happy that they're able to experience what this is all about.
Coach, that same area up front.
Bill, congratulations on making a championship game. John Weatherspoon, NBA panel. This time of year is about always staying locked in and have a short-term memory. For you, how is it that your team has been able to stay so locked in through the whole year?
I don't know that you can stay locked in for 5 months or 4 months. I think there's dips in that, but this team has probably stayed as locked in as any that I've ever had, and they like each other, and that's a coach speak term, but these guys legitimately like each other. I mean, they're brothers. I mean, they want to do everything together. They spend all their time together. They love each other. They're involved in their lives off the court, and I think that has certainly allowed us to stay more locked in. But I would say going back to when we got beat at TCU, a while back, which knocked us probably out of a chance to win the league outright, and then the pressure was on us to go win 2 in a row to get a piece of it. We've been as locked in as any team that I can remember, and we are right now too. It's and Carolina is as well, but this is a focused group we got right now.
Coach, we're in that front row. One more, Matt, if you can pass that to your right. Thank you.
Hey, Bill, I was curious, this time of year probably turns you kind of reflective, and this team has been together for a few years. I wonder, is there pride in the fact that what you've built with this core? I mean, you're starting 5 last night. You've coached them for a while. And as she talked about, it turns over a lot in college basketball with the transfers and stuff. But is there pride in, just if you could kind of speak to what it's like to see a group grow up?
Yeah, I think, when you recruit really well, a lot of times, the players you recruit at the highest level aren't going to be there for 4 years. And the thing about it is you are connected to your one and dones or your two and dones or whatever it is. You're connected to them, and you care for them and love them just as much as anybody else. But there's something about, being able to see a player grow up right in front of your eyes. And sometimes 9 or 10 months isn't enough time to grow up. And I think that we've actually have this here. We got an old team, but with the COVID year, we could have all 5 starters back. Technically, that would never happen. But yeah, it's been fun to watch. And when we won it in 08, going way back to what Dana was talking about, that team lost in the first round. That team came up short the next year, and then finally put it all together. I think there's a natural progress with guys that aren't, first round picks or lottery picks. That it takes time, and you get a chance to see the Ochais and the Davids and the Christians develop, and then by the time they get developed and they develop, they're the equals of the talents that are coming into the game. And so, yeah, it's been fun to coach them and fun to watch.
Coach, we'll move over to the right side. We're using the back right microphone, Chase, and it's Jeff.
Jeff Goodman. Bill, with everything that you've had to deal with the investigation over the last few years and not being able to recruit at a high level, was there a point when you thought you might not get back here?
No. No, it's common knowledge. We've been dealing with some stuff, off the court for a while, but there was never a doubt that we didn't have the potential to get back here because, let's just. In the last 2 out of the last 3 years, we've been arguably as good as anybody. But it's been different playing with older kids as opposed to playing with young kids. And so, we've had some success at Kansas over the years, but the backbones of all our teams have been our experience. It hasn't been our young kids. Even though, I've always thought, man, if your foundation is your juniors and seniors, but your best player was your freshman, man, you got something special. That could be something special, and that hasn't been the case with us the last few years. But the way this is going, I think you're going to. One of the keys to college basketball is going to be how to get old and how to stay old, and we've been fortunate that we've been able to do that the last couple of years.
Need to get a microphone to this gentleman right here.
Hi, Bill. Kevin Sweeney from Sports Illustrated. I know last year after the USC game, you said you guys needed to get more athletic, get longer, get bigger. You did do that in the portal, but your 5 starters were on
same
that team.
Guys.
Yeah. So what changed in the last year to allow you guys to be in this stage?
I think we are more athletic, and it's the same guys. They deserve the credit. This is. Remy obviously gives us a burst of speed that and he's the quickest guy on our roster that we need. He can make a basket or make a play when you really don't have anything going. But I think we have gotten that way in large part just because our players have gotten better and developed.
Second row is CBS. Microphone's right behind you, sir. There you go.
Hi. Bill, Steve Futterman from CBS News. We did get a chance to talk to you after the second game yesterday. You talked a bit about Coach K there. I'm wondering, you've had relationships with him. He's broken many coaches' hearts over the years when he's been up against other teams. What is he meant to the sport, and what will the coaching fraternity miss by having someone like him no longer in the active coaching ranks, you feel?
Well, he's in my time since I've been involved as a coach. When I first got involved, Coach Smith and Coach Thompson were the 2 pillars. But as that mantle has shifted, basically in my coaching career, he's been the standard since I've been doing this. I've been coaching while he's won all 5 national championships. I was a graduate assistant on the Kansas staff when he went to his first Final Four. So, I've been able to see it even though I was young. But, yeah, he's meant as much to our sport as anybody in our sports has ever been. And he will be missed. I think to someone's point earlier, I don't think they'll ever replace him. But I do think collectively there's a lot of guys out there that can collectively carry the mantle, not individually, that he has. But I'm hopeful for this. We talked about college basketball a little bit ago. The best way to help college basketball is to get ideas and have people involved that understand college basketball. And a lot of times it can't be from within the profession. So you have a couple of recently retired guys that have been as good at this as anybody that's ever done it. I could see them playing a big role in us moving forward in a positive way.
Let's go to ESPN.
We're going to try and get through this with my voice. You mentioned you talked to your dad a bit this week when there have been moments on the court. I was just wondering if yesterday you said anything to him and what he would have said to you.
I've talked to him a lot. He used to get on me a lot because he'd say, "Well, thanks for calling. Hadn't heard from you in a while." And I'm like, "Well, Dad, you have a phone too. They actually dial out both ways." And no, you're busy. So you can, whenever you have any free time, got enough time for me, give me a call. And I actually have probably talked to him more in the last couple of months than I probably did when he was still living. So I don't know if there's any specific things. I know when we get in a bind, all right, what do you think? What we need to do here? Stuff like that. But it's been, everybody goes through stuff, and certainly my stuff isn't bigger than anybody else's. But it's been a situation for myself and my family that I've probably taken more pride in this than I have ever before, that maybe times I've taken for granted, because I know exactly how much he would be enjoying this right now.
We're going to go up front to the center. We're going to use the front left microphone. And during the question, we're going to welcome David McCormack and Ochai Agbaji. They're going to join us up here on the dais as well. You can go with your question.
Hey, Bill. Andy Witchery, NCAA.com. You mentioned getting old and staying old. Going back to January of 2019 when Ochai's red shirt got pulled, I think his sixth game, he scored 24 against Texas. He set a three-point percentage record in the Final Four last night. Looking back at that time when his red shirt was pulled and he's the special player early on and now an All-American, what have you seen from him and his growth as a college player?
Well, first of all, I think I was very bright to pull his red shirt, because we wouldn't have coached him for 4 years after that anyway, so I'm glad we maximized it. Yeah, but it's been awesome to watch him grow up, just like with Dave. I mean, they came in together, and Oach has been terrific, but to see the natural progression that's taken place, to see him being a guy that is going to play, make a lot of money playing this game for a long time, when he wasn't projected to do that, it's been special to watch, and he deserves all the credit, because there's nobody that works like him.
On the right side of the room again, Dana.
Bill, going back to the question I asked you earlier, is there something to be said for older guys that kind of take their NCAA lumps, not that you want it to go that way, but to kind of break through? We've seen that with other teams. They lose, and they finally get through it. Do you think there's something to be said for all that?
I don't know if there's something, but it seems like to me that happens more times than not happen. I know it has with us. I mean, we got on a serious roll, there for a stretch. But when I first got to Kansas, I think the first year we went to the Elite Eight, and everything was great. And the next 2 years we lose in the first round, and it's, can I just hang on, or do I need to relocate? That's what I was thinking. And so, and then to go through it the way we did it, and to finally break through, I think it is almost a natural progression. I think we could play with 5 freshmen and play great tomorrow night, but I would rather go into the game with some guys that are battle tested, though.
On the left side of the room, kind of toward the back, and the next question is going to have to be for the student athletes, especially if this one is or is not. Go ahead, Coach.
All right, Coach, Len Jennings, KNBC. Obviously, getting this far is special enough, but having 2 programs with such a rich basketball history, tradition, and its ties, does it make it more special to be part of this game?
I think so. I think no matter who we would be playing tonight, it would be incredibly special, because both teams are as blue as you can get when you talk about blue bloods. But to play a Carolina program that's intertwined with Kansas history, in large part because Coach Smith played at Kansas and won a national championship in '52, and then he goes on and is thought to be as good a basketball coach that's ever coached the sport over a period of time. So I think that's special. And also with Coach Williams, heading our program for 15 years and doing a magnificent job there, and then going back to his alma mater and winning 3 national championships, I think that certainly adds to the interest. I'm very proud to be a part of this game.
We have a student athlete question on the right side toward the front.
Thanks for calling me a student athlete. I'm way past college. Appreciate it.
I can see it.
It's okay. This question is for Ochai and David. Every kid, when they grow up, they want to make the NBA. But now that you're in the precipice of a national championship, I'm wondering, go back to me when you were a kid, and did you ever have that dream of being a national champion in college? And then also, now that you're here, what's your mentality like going into the biggest game of your playing career?
Ochai first, please, then David.
This is the moment every kid dreams to be in, to play for a national championship for their school, to represent their school in the highest stage of basketball itself, and play in front of all these people. I think that's just a dream come true for me and all the guys on my team. So we're just excited to play tomorrow, and everyone's just ready.
David.
I know for me, I remember the days of watching every game in March Madness and watching the finals, and you're raving about it with your friends and what team you're picking, and now I get to play a part in that. And we've fought all this way, we've battled all this way to make it to the biggest stage in college basketball, and there's no better feeling, and especially having my family there to support me during that time. And I know there's kids back at the same schools that I went to that's cheering me on, so it doesn't get any better than that.
We'll go up front to the right. Dennis?
Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports for both players. I wonder if you could go through what it was like in 20, having the tournament taken away from you. You weren't unique in that aspect, except you were number one of the best teams in Kansas of all time, I think, at that stage. When did it hit you? How did it hit you? And was ever that what-if factor? What could we have done?
We'll ask Ochai to take it again first, and then David.
Yeah, there's always that what-if factor after that 2020 season, especially that the run that we had, to close out that season was unbelievable. Just thinking back to that and that feeling of playing on that team, I think it just kind of replicates to how we are now, and how this team moves, and our confidence on this team, and that's why I keep saying that we're doing it for them, because we just have that same feeling.
David.
Kind of like Ochai, but just a little different. I don't think of it as a what if. Like, I know what we would have done that year. Just we were on a positive slope. Everything was kind of going right for us. Everybody was gelling, connecting. So I just see this year as an avengement to that team and what they rightfully deserve, and now it's just our year to go get it. I definitely think we would have went all the way, just the way Marcus was playing, Doak was playing, Isaiah, Dotson, Oj, and then the way we were coming off the bench, me, Silvio, CB, like everybody was just kind of playing their best ball at that time.
Take a question just to the left of the right aisle.
Coach Self, Darren Smith, KOKC Radio. Just as I circled the moon another year today, looking back as a reflection, when you first started to where you are now, where the game is going, recruiting, and you having players like Andrew Wiggins, Joel Embiid, to the players that you have now, how has that made you a better coach, and especially with your experience in the Final Four and the next championship game, get you prepared for tomorrow night's game?
Well, preparation is important, but let's not kid ourselves. I mean, we're going to practice for 30 minutes today, and Carolina's going to practice for 30 minutes today, and you're not going to change a lot what you're doing just for this one game. You may tweak something, but I think that when you talk about our game has evolved in so many ways. In the last, I've been doing it now, head coach 29 years, so it's evolved in so many ways. And one of the biggest things that I think is, coaches, a lot of coaches, and I've worked for Eddie Sutton for a long time. I wouldn't call him a control freak, but he did like to know where every shot was coming from and what time of the clock it was coming. And so you go from being taught that, saying I like to control, to now it's like I need to let the players play. And that's an evolvement that I think a lot of coaches have gone through. It used to be how do we get shots off the catch, and now it's how can we create opportunities to go score off the bounce. And there's many things like that, and the clock has changed it, and the arc has changed it, obviously. But I think it's still basketball, though, and it's still being sound. It's still getting one or more good shots each possession and giving up one or less shot each possession. And how you get there is changes and evolves, but that's still the core philosophy of what we try to do.
Center of the room toward the back, USA Today.
Hey, Bill. Scott Gleason with USA Today. I was hoping you could speak to what Hubert's been able to do at North Carolina and just, getting this team to play with such confidence in his first year as a coach.
Yeah, it's incredible. All teams go through blips, but obviously, they had a great year, but they were a bubble team 6 weeks ago, and which is incredible to me. But the way I'll tell you, I coached Mondo on the USA team when he was coming out of high school, okay? He was going to be a senior, and I coached him, so I got to know him a little bit. You know, obviously, we spent, 17 or 21 days together, whatever. And we saw their team at Del Frisco's in Fort Worth because we were both in that sub-regional. When we first got there that first night, we both were eating there at the same time, and I went up to Mondo and congratulations, you having fun? And the first thing he said, I love playing for Coach Davis. That's the first thing he said to me. So I think that right there is a testament to how good he is, how special, and the relationship he has with his guys. So it's not surprising at all when you have talented guys that when they do gel, they gel in a big way if they enjoy, if they have the same common theme and they believe in the way they're playing. So I don't think it's uncommon, but to get them to play at this level, that game last night was a big time high level game. That's about as good as you can see, and his guys played with so much confidence. It's just a testament to him.
This will be the final question, left side.
Jordan Betts from KSHU 41 in Kansas City. Ochai, I have kind of a two-parter for you. I don't know if you know your high school tomorrow is having Och Park Day in dedication to you. They're all wearing the North Kansas City Skills District. Och Park Day. That's what they're calling it. They're all wearing red and blue, the whole North Kansas City School District. I want to know what that means to you, knowing that they're doing that. And second part, I spoke to your sister yesterday, who's also been to a Final Four in volleyball and a national championship, and wondering what advice she gave you.
Yeah, Och Park, that was actually a nickname that I had in high school, or that other schools would call like our school instead of just Oak Park. They would just call us Och Park because everyone knew just me. But no, it's really special. It's actually a huge motivation, seeing all those people and all the support that I get from my high school in Kansas City area. So it's just special. Obviously, my sister was in the Final Four national championship game, and I think it was after the Sweet 16 or after the Elite 8 in Chicago. I was like, I'm trying to, catch up with you. I'm trying to get on your level. But yesterday in the hotel after the game, she was like, yeah, don't get on my level because she lost in the national championship game. So I was like, yeah, I gotta surpass you on that. So it's it's all love, but I've seen her in that moment, and I'm just trying to follow her lead.
We want to thank Coach Self and David and Ochai for joining us here in the main interview room. Best of luck tomorrow night, fellas.
Thanks.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, David.